Dogman is an incredible movie, but before becoming an animated feature, the canine cop was already the star of a beloved book series. Did you know there are several differences between the movie and the books about our hero? Girlfriend. DreamWorks knows exactly how to balance humor with emotional depth, and Dogman is a great example of that. After all, even though the police dog is hilarious, his story is actually quite sad. The movie made the main character's life even more tragic, showing that he once had a girlfriend who truly seemed to love him, but she abandoned him after he was transformed into Dogman. This character was completely invented for the film, since the books don't include any storyline exploring the downside of becoming half dog. This edition is both depressing and realistic, because let's face it, very few people would stay with their partner after they turned into half a dog. You can clearly see how that affects Dogman, who feels lonely and has to start a new life on his own. You already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting! Sarah Hadoff. Sarah Hadoff was adapted really well for the movie. Her charm and sense of humor stayed exactly the same. Some people might even say she was improved in the DreamWorks version. The biggest difference is in her appearance. Here, her hair is long and she wears a blue jacket. In the books, Sarah's hair is much shorter and less reddish. Meanwhile, her outfit is an orange dress. Both versions feature a bag, but in the movie it's brown, while in the original version it's purple. George and Harold. George and Harold are the creators of the Dogman universe, since the entire story takes place inside a comic book made by them. This detail is much clearer in the books. The first volume even starts with the two of them working on their comics. This isn't forgotten in the movie, but it's less obvious. The film begins with their voices introducing the story, and throughout the rest of the movie, they act as narrators, sometimes adding little comments. They even make physical appearances like in the books, but only as Easter eggs, showing up as background characters walking through the city. Nurse Lady. Nurse Lady is one of the funniest examples of changes made in the Dogman adaptation. In the movie, she's a cute and sweet character, but the same can't be said about her book version, where she's practically bald. Seriously, the poor lady only has a few strands of hair, being yet another victim of baldness. It's kinda sad, right? But also a little funny, we have to admit. Maybe her design was changed to avoid scaring kids, or maybe they just wanted to make her look prettier. The Chief's crush. It's hard to watch the movie without laughing at the scenes between the Chief and journalist Sarah Hadoff. They constantly tease each other, even though they're clearly in love. By the end, their chemistry becomes pretty obvious, hinting that they might actually get together in Dogman 2. But here's another big difference between the DreamWorks version and the original story. In the books, the Chief doesn't have a romance with Sarah. In fact, his crush is on another character who also appears in the movie, Nurse Lady. Maybe this change happened because Sarah usually gets more attention in Dogman stories, so it was easier to build a romantic subplot between her and the Chief in a short movie, without needing extra scenes focused entirely on that. So, who do you prefer to see with the Chief? Comment hashtag Team Sarah or hashtag Team Nurse down below and let us know your opinion. Flippy's backstory. Even though Petey causes trouble for most of the movie, the real final villain of the story is the cyborg fish Flippy, who makes several buildings come to life and start attacking OK City. But it's actually pretty funny, because his entire origin story just happens right in the middle of the movie. In the books, Flippy shows up in the second volume, and even though the movie borrows elements from the first few volumes, the second book's story itself wasn't adapted, since the focus went to the third one, the one where Petey creates Lil Petey using the cloning machine. However, that doesn't mean the events from the second book never happened in the movie's universe. In fact, they totally did, almost exactly like in the original story. We know this because the Chief quickly summarizes the entire story of the evil little fish for Dogman. During the scene, you can even see panels lifted straight from the book. Petey's father. Many longtime Dogman fans were expecting a lot of different things from the movie before it came out, but few actually believed that DreamWorks would adapt the emotional scene where Petey reunites with his father, the one who abandoned him as a child. The reason this was unexpected is that the movie mainly adapts Volume 3 of the book series, titled A Tale of Two Kitties, along with some elements from the first two books, like Dogman's origin scene. However, Petey's father is a character who only reconnects with his son much later in the books. That appearance doesn't happen until the 7th book, For Whom the Ball Rolls. The abandonment scene. After getting a taste of fatherhood, Petey made the same decision many terrible dads do. He abandoned his son. Sad, but true. Still, since we're talking about Dogman, this scene somehow keeps its comedic side. That's because a goofy buck-toothed girl shows up to buy Lil Petey in both versions, but a small detail in the dialogue between her and Petey changes slightly. In the movie, the world's meanest cat just wants to hand off his young clone to someone, saying he's free. The girl then says she only has $1, as if having money somehow stopped her from taking something for free. Petey then says he'll sell the kid for $1. In the book, what changes is that Petey originally tries to sell the kitten for $1 and the girl says she only has 10. Following the same nonsensical logic, he gives her a $10 discount and she's still happy to spend more money than she needed to. When you think about it, the movie's version is even darker. Book Petey at least thought his son was worth $1, while DreamWorks' Petey was ready to give him away for free. Lil Petey's room. After regretting his decision to abandon his son, Petey goes after Lil Petey and brings him back home, showing him his new room. But what's behind the door isn't really a bedroom. It's a tiny storage closet filled with random junk. Seriously, there isn't even a bed in there, just a mop. This is different from the book version of the same scene, where the kitten's room is, well, an actual bedroom, complete with a bed. DreamWorks clearly wanted to make the scene funnier and show that Petey really has no idea how to be a dad, so they solved it by having him offer a mop as a sleep buddy. It's exactly the kind of thing the world's meanest cat would do, especially during this stage where he's still learning what it means to be a father. The bomb. The movie's opening, showing how Dogman was created, is one of the most memorable and funniest parts of the entire story. The origin itself is the same as in the book. Officer Knight and Greg the dog are blown up by a bomb planted by Petey, leading to their bodies being fused together in surgery. However, the scene where they find the bomb has a few key differences. In the movie, the bomb is placed on top of an abandoned factory, unlike the book, where the trap is set right on the ground in the middle of a grassy field. Also, in the book, Petey lures them there by yelling for help, pretending he wasn't the one who planted the bomb. That's not what happens in the movie. The police duo find the explosive while chasing the world's meanest cat.
Aqui no canal tem vídeo novo todo dia, então se inscreve e ativa o sininho para ficar sempre por dentro.
Cloning machine. Dogman is packed with completely hilarious scenes, and one of them is when Petey buys a cloning machine and uses it to create a clone of himself. The unexpected twist is that the clone comes out as a kid because the villain didn't read the instructions, which said to wait 18 years before opening the machine so the clone could grow into an adult. The joke is the same in both versions, but one specific detail is very different. The cloning machine we see in the movie is huge and super high-tech, while the one in the book looks like a small, simple box. The reason for that difference is that the book illustrations have a very simple art style, keeping everything straightforward. Even highly advanced gadgets are drawn in a minimal way. Meanwhile, the movie, animated by the talented artists at DreamWorks, had more freedom to go further and fill the visuals with details, while still staying true to the original style of the books. Bad dog. One of the most interesting traits of Dogman is that he's not just a guy with dog-like abilities. The character actually thinks like a dog most of the time and ends up in several awkward situations that only an innocent pup would get himself into. At one point, he even starts rubbing himself against Flippy's lifeless body, which, when you think about it, is kind of gross. That moment was taken directly from the books, but in the movie, it's the chief who yells at Dogman to stop, while in the book, it's a scientist who shouts at him instead. The Butler. Besides being a full-on villain, Petey is also a terrible boss, and that's made clear when he fires his assistant over something ridiculous and refuses to pay her with real money. No wonder she hates the cat and acts pretty rude most of the time. This character is another one that went through major changes. In the books, the butler isn't even a woman. He's a man dressed as a traditional servant. His personality is also different. Not rude like in the movie, though he also gets fired by Petey right at the beginning of the story. Dradaki. And speaking of scientists, remember the one from the super awesome science center over there? Yes, the one who turns Flippy into a cyborg. Well, she's another movie character who was originally a man in the books, going by the name Dr. Dookie. Since he wasn't such an important character, DreamWorks didn't hesitate to turn him into a female scientist, adding a bit more variety and personality diversity to the cast. We've left 2 videos on your screen so you can choose and keep having fun with us. See you in the next video!